Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to yet another episode of The Gloving Paradigm. I am your host, Peter, aka LPD8 Dubuque, and this week I'm going to be going over a subject matter that I know kind of has a polarizing effect in the community because of people's perceptions of it or their opinions of it. So, what is the topic? Well, to put it simply, it's going to be about sponsorships, and the reason that I wanted to cover sponsorships is that it's one of those big things that a lot of people talk about, and it comes and goes in waves basically when it comes to the community, as well as a lot of community members really voicing their opinions about said sponsorships. So in this episode, what I want to cover is basically an overview of what a sponsorship is and what it entails, pretty much ideas of how people can get sponsors and what you should pretty much have that's going to get the eyes of the companies that do sponsorships. So first things first, I just want to get it out of the way right now that these connotations that people have about sponsorships and their negative light on them should not be something that should deter you from pursuing it. If getting a sponsorship is something that you feel is the right direction that you want to take your gloving career, then by all means go for it. Now, I'll certainly tell you that it is no easy task to get a sponsorship. I will certainly tell you that I'm not sponsored. I have no aspirations of actually pursuing a sponsorship, mostly because as a content creator, what I would like for my work to actually just stand on its own. And if a company feels like the work that I'm putting out is actually valuable enough for them to actually sponsor it, then I am totally open up to the discussion of getting a sponsorship. However, I am just not going to pursue getting a sponsorship due to the fact that I just want to put out my work, and if somebody feels like my work is valuable enough to actually fund, then by all means we'll have a discussion about it and we'll actually work towards an agreement on that. However, like I keep saying, I'm just not going to actively pursue it. I just want my work to actually be recognized on its own rather than me actually pushing to pursue that sponsorship. So with that out of the way, that should not deter you from actually pursuing a sponsorship of your own, because in my opinion, if a sponsorship is what you're striving to be because you feel like it's going to further your career in gloving, then by all means go for it. I certainly agree that it does help your career immensely, and it all really depends on how much work you're actually going to put into your sponsorship to actually get it and maintain it. Because what some people might think is that once you get sponsored, then it's pretty much smooth sailing from there, when that is not the case at all. I can certainly tell you from what I've seen from a lot of people who are sponsored that they actually have to put in a lot of work. And I mean, they have to put in a lot of work to actually maintain their sponsorship and actually bring in those sales. Okay, so let's just pretty much go over what is a sponsorship and what it entails. So when you are somebody who is sponsored by a company, which in this case it can be any of the companies that we know very well, from Amazing Lights to Futuristic to Candy Variations, LED Gloves, so on and so forth. The thing that you need to understand is that you are now representing the company that you are being sponsored by. So there are certain things that entail that, where you do get a discount code as a form of promotion, so you can help promote the company. It's usually anywhere from a 5 to 10% discount, and you will pretty much, as a sponsor, you will get pretty much a good percentage of the sales back to you as a way of showing that, yeah, the more work you put in, the more money you get paid. Now, I can certainly understand certain people's with their connotations of the pay being very minuscule. However, I just feel that, sponsorships is not this end all be all in terms of getting paid to be a glover, basically. I see it as a way, as being a stepping stone to better things, whether it be being part of a company or just being part of something that has a lot of reputation in the community itself. So that's something that I always want to express to a lot of newcomers who are striving to become sponsored glovers, is that it should not be your end all be all, and that you do have to put in a lot of work to actually maintain it. So with that discount code, you do get paid every month pretty much, and pretty much every month, at least from all the research that I've been delving into about sponsorships I've seen throughout the community, is that you do get free care packages, whether it be just a simple refresh pack with batteries or gloves. A lot of people do find that as a nice little perk because it does help, hedge on costs and things like that. Not only that, is that you do get exclusive updates on products and announcements before anyone else does, which is can always be very interesting, especially to somebody who's like a content creator such as myself. Having these exclusive previews, it would be amazing to actually kind of be able to release that on a channel like this and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, you do get these exclusive previews and things like that on products and announcements that the company is coming out with, which is always helpful. And of course, one of the big things I know a lot of people think that sponsors pretty much have, but it's not always very clear, is that they think they get, free festival trips, which to a degree, yes and no. They do get that. I will certainly say that you do get chances to go to festivals if they feel like you would be a good representation for their companies at that festival. So just keep in mind that if you're trying to get it sponsored because you think you're just going to get free festivals all the time, that is not going to be the case. I will certainly say that companies that do send people to festivals, they send the people who put in the most amount of work. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So there are a lot of benefits of becoming a sponsor. You do get name recognition, and you also are getting your name out there much more easily because you have the backing of a company to actually put your work out there pretty easily. So there are many, many perks to actually doing a sponsorship. Now, I'll certainly say there are things that you need to keep in mind when it comes to your sponsorship, is that once you actually get it, that you need to maintain it by actually putting in the work that they want out of a sponsor. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that they want you to literally move mountains and turn water into wine level of dedication and work, but you do need to put in the amount of work, whether it be very active online or in person, and actually being able to actually get the promotion out there and actually help promote the company as much as possible. It's going to take a lot of time, and I'll certainly say it. When it comes to sponsorships, it's kind of like being a competitive Magic player in my eyes, is that it's not this, I do this and I'm good and I'm ready to go type deal. No, it actually takes the time and money necessary to actually get it done. Okay. Some people will even tell you it takes money to make money, and that's something I totally agree with, because like somebody is me who creates episodes for podcasts. I'm actually doing this all out of my own pocket, and pretty much my paycheck is what's funding this entire channel basically. And so it does take time to actually put in the work to do so. So what are ways that people actually can get sponsored? Well, I kind of covered it briefly, but you have the activity portion, which is posting online content to help fortify the art, and whether that be like tutorials or just helping people understand how to go about certain things or how to approach certain things in different ways, is always going to be a way to help. And of course, hosting meetup events / competition events is also going to be very helpful. It shows that you are willing to put in the work to help your local community and actually help them thrive and actually become a much better community overall, as well as they're showing the effort that you're willing to help people pursue even further in their gloving career through competitions or meetup events, and actually help just people have a social event. And of course, bottom line of just supporting your local community is probably going to be one of the biggest things that are going to help get you recognized and help you get sponsored, just because it shows that you're willing to put in the work to help the community grow. And that's pretty much one of the big things about most of these companies, is they actually want to see communal growth that you are putting in. Okay. Another good way that I feel that might help you actually get sponsored is actually doing promotions yourself. Very fantastic ways actually doing giveaways of a particular company's product, and helping, showing people that, that this is the company that you want to represent, and that you believe in the company standards of what they're actually putting out and the products that they're actually putting out in terms of quality and things like that. So doing giveaways is always going to be a good thing. I will certainly tell you that I'm working on doing giveaways myself. Just as soon as I actually purchase the product that I want to actually give away, Of course, after doing my review on them and then giving them away, that's pretty much my whole plan. So giveaways is always a good example. Sharing product announcements is always a good one because you're actually helping promote the company and showing that whatever new product that they're bringing out, that they're actually getting the word out. That it helps because they're actually going to see if you actually go on their main, like, let's just say Facebook for the example. If you go on their Facebook page and you actually are sharing their content, they're going to be seeing that you're sharing their content, so that actually gives them an eye that, you know, you're trying to help promote the company. And of course, sharing special sales that the company has going on is also going to be a great way. I know certain people might see that as spamming, but it is, if you're sharing the posts that the companies are putting out about sales, then that's going to help immensely because you're help promoting the company and sharing their content. Okay. One other thing that I do want to pretty much elaborate is that in recent times, these companies that do a lot of sponsorships are actually having a application on their website that you can actually fill out to actually try to get sponsored. Now, I will certainly say that the first thing that you should probably do is actually just do these applications, and the worst thing that's going to happen is them telling you no. However, that will be your opportunity to be asking questions of what they are looking for to actually have somebody get sponsored. And do not be afraid to actually kind of pry the question, the answers out of these companies. And it's just because I don't see a company saying no to somebody because they feel like they don't need any more promotion. Companies are always going to need more promotion because they want to make more sales. That's how companies are. They just want to make that money. So doing that is going to be helpful. And in my opinion, the perfect first step is just doing an application. And if you get denied, then you know what you need to be asking, and once you actually get the answers of what they're looking for, now you know what you need to be working on. And therefore working on what you need to work on. Okay, so AmazingLights.com does applications, Candy Creations does it, Futuristic Lights, and LEDgloves.com. They all have applications on their websites that you can actually go and do. So it all really depends on which companies that you would want to be sponsored by and yet you feel like really is a nice fit for you as a glover. So that's pretty much the easiest ways that you're going to learn how to get sponsored. Now, what should you have to help get that sponsorship? Well, first of all, you're going to have that amount of skill that is needed to actually help promote the products. Now, what do I mean by the skill is, yes, you do need to show that you're able to perform the craft of gloving and show that you have the skills to actually do a lot of the gloving archetypes, as I like to call it. But you don't have to be the absolute best, be-all, end-all, best glover of all time in order to get the sponsorship. In my opinion, if you can show that you adequately understand the art and adequately are able to demonstrate it in a very proper way, in a very entertaining way for audiences, then that's going to be something that they're looking for. Especially if it shows very huge amount of potential for growth, that's something that they're always going to work on, always look for. Okay. And another thing I definitely want to kind of stress is that the level of dedication. Yes, you do have to put in the work and you do have to show your commitment in order to actually achieve it. That's kind of one of the things that companies that you want to see is, are you committed to actually showing what is needed to actually get this done? Whether it be through online postings or actually doing in-person meetup events and stuff like that, where you're actually showing growth in a community and things of that nature. That's what they're kind of looking for. You're willing to do the commitment and put in the work that you're needed to actually dedicate. Now, of course, there's a couple of other things that a lot of people say that you do need, and I do highly agree, because it's in my opinion necessary for the first two to actually happen. You actually have to have these. And the first thing is passion. Okay, so no company is going to pretty much sponsor somebody who's not going to show the passionate effort that they're willing to put into it as much as that they are, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm not going to, Futuristic Lights is not going to try to sponsor me if I'm literally not just going to put in the effort of actually helping promote their products and helping promote the art by, doing what I need to do. I got to actually show the level of work. I gotta show my passion through the level of work I'm actually putting into everything, if that actually makes sense to a lot of people, And another thing that a lot of people need to understand is that there has to be some level of a unique quality for you to actually get sponsored. Whether it be the influence you have on your audience, or the amount of work that you put in actually fortifying your community, or actually just having, putting in the amount of effort on putting online content out. Whatever the case may be, you do have to show this sense of a unique quality that the company is just like, not many of the other companies have that. Maybe we should have that before they do, So you definitely got to show what factor do you offer that the companies can be like, we do need that, So as well, there's many other things. I will certainly tell you, in my opinion, though, that when it comes to actually trying to get these sponsorships, that if at first you don't succeed, just keep trying and trying and trying, especially if this is something you really, really do want. You do definitely just got to be very persistent on trying to get it. In my opinion, showing persistence is showing the amount of dedication that you have, okay? So being actually dedicated and trying to actually get these sponsorships is something I would totally encourage. I know some people will say that it shouldn't be your be an end all thing, and I highly agree with that. It should be the stepping stone to bigger and better things for you in your career as a glover. So some of the things that I would advise you as somebody who's trying to go for a sponsorship is that please understand what it is that the companies are looking for, and do not hesitate to actually communicate with these companies about what they're looking for in sponsorships, because they should be able to tell you what they're looking for. And if a company can't really tell you what they're looking for in a sponsorship, then that might be a good indicator that that might not be the company for you. Okay, so if a company is willing to actually tell you what they're looking for, then that's a very good indicator for you to actually pursue it. Okay, and then once they actually tell you, then do what they actually tell you to do. That's what they're looking for, so that's what they want. And I'm not saying that you have to sell out your values in order to get it, but communicating with the companies is going to show that you have, one, interest, and two, that you actually, with the persistence that you'll have, it shows that you have the dedication to do so. Okay. And another thing that I will definitely impart on all of you is, you definitely have to show the passion of the art. Some people have this idea that sponsors just want it for the free stuff, which should not be the reason why you want the sponsorship at all. Nor is like the prestige that some people feel like people get for being a sponsor. I certainly will tell you from my own experience of just being a content creator, just put out the work that you feel like you want to put out, and put out that work, put out the content that you feel the community needs, and just let your work stand for itself. And if the companies don't feel like the work that you're putting out is actually good enough, then yeah, maybe you need to change it if you want them to actually to pick it up, or if you feel like it's just not gonna mesh well with what you're trying to do, then you might have to pursue a different company. It all really depends on what you're actually looking for in the end. I always will encourage people who want to try to get sponsorships to go for it. It's a motivation for you to pursue in your gloving career, and for the people who like to tell people not to do so, I feel like you're actually kind of hurting the community in a sense, because you're telling them that shouldn't be a good motivation for them to actually do gloving in essence, especially if there's somebody who's very passionate about the art, and they feel like with their passion of the art that they can actually bring something to the table where it actually helps promote and grow the community as a whole. So if you feel like you're one of those people that you can actually help the community grow exponentially, and that you're very passionate about this art, then by all means go for the sponsorship. No one should be telling you that you shouldn't go for it, unless you literally have no adequate skills to actually achieve that. But if you're unable to achieve it, then that's just something you have to kind of live with, but it shouldn't discourage you from pursuing anything else, in my opinion. If sponsorship is not going to be an avenue for you, there's other avenues for you to take. So in my opinion, you should just, keep that in mind, that there's other ways that you can promote the art and do these things, So that's pretty much all I can do for my episode. I know it's kind of a little short, but with the amount of research that I had to do, and it was pretty much just a lot of slugging through a lot of negative comments of certain things, and I understand that it doesn't really come out very well, but you know, I had to do with what I can work with and within the time that I had allotted to me. Okay, so definitely want to thank everybody who has liked the show so far. I do highly appreciate it. I'm still kind of astonished about how much growth I've had in such a short period of time on the channel. So I definitely like to thank all of you who have liked the page so far, and please help me out in trying to get more likes, because if we can get to 100 likes, then I can do my first Ask Me Anything, and I feel like that would be a lot of fun for not only myself but for all of you guys to ask me any questions, whether it's gloving related or not. I feel like that would just be a lot of fun and allows you to actually get to know me more on a personal level. So please kind of help me out here. It does not take a whole lot of time, and it's actually absolutely free to do likes and shares. You know, it's not actually asking any money on your part to do so. So what are the various ways that you can actually hit me up? Well, of course, like I mentioned, I have a Facebook page which is aptly named The Gloving Paradigm. You can always hit me up there, send me a comment or send me a message directly. I try to be as responsive as possible. You can also find me on Reddit under the username MuttonChopGuy, and you can also hit me up at my email, which is muttonchopguy@gmail.com. Those are places that you can always hit me up. I try to be as responsive as possible. And lastly, I do have a Discord server that you guys can join. You will find the link to that in this episode's description down below. That's pretty much all for my episode. Once again, thank you for everyone who has shown support to this show. It does mean a whole lot to me that I'm actually helping you guys. It does make me feel appreciative that there are people who are willing to listen to the content I'm creating and take that into consideration. I definitely would like to hear back from you guys on some of the stuff, and hear back if you have any ideas to help improve my channel even more. That would be even more fantastic. But other than that, that's pretty much my episode for this week. I really do hope to hear you guys on a lot of this stuff, and hopefully I get a couple things in the works that I have kind of on the back burner that I want to get done. So hopefully that won't be a huge issue. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much my episode. I am your host, Peter, aka LPD8 Dubuque, and I'll see you guys all next week.